Welcome. I'm meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We say goodbye to fall with close to 70 degrees in Denver in December. And an Arctic cold front coming in overnight is going to change all that for the first full day of winter. Highs today in the 60s, mid 60s, missed a record by 3 degrees. That number a good 25 degrees above average. But the storm coming in from the northwest already producing snow in the Colorado high country, where winter weather and travel advisories will go out for heavy snow and blowing snow overnight. No accumulation expected for the first part of the evening in Denver, but as we move into the overnight period and for the morning drive, 1 to 3 inches of snow for Denver, Greeley, and Fort Collins, and just a bitter cold day with highs in the 20s, wind chills close to 0, and then a really cold night coming up tomorrow night. And the snow forecast does show some of the heavier amounts in the foothills. Not a big snowstorm for Denver by any stretch, but a big drop in temperature. Metro snow overnight tonight into the morning drive with temperatures in the lower 20s. And then we get some sunshine as we kind of move through Friday afternoon before the next round of cold and snow coming in for Saturday, with highs in the teens, lows in the single digits to kick off the upcoming holiday weekend.
Can't tell each person individually what the new tax bill means to them, but we can do the next best thing. Denver is about to force homeowners to fix sidewalks. Other cities think there's a smarter way. Tough to be a home brewer without a home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just an ordinary person. I lived in my Jeep.
Used to be homeless, now he's on his way to opening a brewery. And for once, a planned implosion actually worked. We're imploding before your eyes nightly. This is next. There's a lot of noise today from political people trying to convince you that the tax bill passed overnight is going to help you or hose you. It's not really our job. We just want you to understand how it will impact your family finances. Here's Brandon Ritterman.
In Colorado, almost everyone can expect some level of tax cut under this plan because we're not one of those high tax states you've been hearing about in the national debate. We're going to give you some tools where you can get a more exacting calculation of what your tax burden might be under the plan. But we'll start with some examples just to get your mind wrapped around it. This is a single person making $50 grand a year taking the standard deduction. And you can see this GOP tax plan saves this person $1,100 or 20% over what they would have paid under the existing tax law. If we take a look at a married couple with 2 kids making 75 grand, you can see they save even more, a little over 2,100 or 55%. And that big shift right there mostly comes from the more generous child tax credit that people can claim. If you make this family richer, this gets interesting. Watch these numbers. We're going to make this couple earn $250,000, $9,500 in tax savings. It's only 20%, but dollar for dollar adds up to quite a bit more. Make them rich, $2.5 million. They're saving about 59 grand under this plan. Again, everybody's circumstance is going to be different. So if you want to get your mind wrapped around your own situation, look on 9news.com for this Figure Out What You'll Pay story. And in there, we've got links to 2 different calculators that we have vetted. We've double-checked the math on here, and you can rely on this to give you a fairly accurate picture of what you might pay under the new plan. You can see one of them gives you a few more options than the other as far as deductions. So if you itemize, you may want to take a look at both and grab last year's tax return so you can compare. Few things that the experts tell us you're going to want to talk to an accountant about. One is called grouping. Upper middle class people might be able to take advantage of what's called grouping, which is prepaying your taxes, let's say, this year so that you can itemize in one year, then take the standard deduction the next year and alternate like that in perpetuity. Gets a little complicated, but could save you money potentially, depending on your circumstance. Business owners. Everything we've been talking about is more standard type income like paychecks. If you have your own business, lots of tax changes to go over, some of which might make you alter the way you run your business, and you may want to talk to your accountant about that before the year's end so you can make those changes. And then retirees, because retirement income can come from so many different places, be it Social Security, a pension, 401k. Really, everyone's tax picture is going to be a little bit different. Also a good idea to talk to your accountant there. For next, I'm Brandon Ritterman.
It's important to keep in mind, too, these tax examples are for next year's income only. That's the money that you earn in 2018. The IRS is going to adjust for inflation each year. And also bear in mind that a lot of these tax cuts have an expiration date. So either Congress is going to renew them years from now, or you're going to be paying more in taxes at that point. We have a Hick Kasich alert, another sighting of America's favorite political odd couple, who really aren't that odd at all because they agree on a ton politically. So do not be surprised if they run on the same presidential ticket in 2020. They are back. They've co-signed a letter with other governors asking Congress to act quickly to save DACA. That's the program that prevents deportation of people brought here illegally as children. Trump administration has kicked this can to Congress. Hickenlooper, Kasich and co. want Congress to do something before the holidays, noting that 12,000 young people have already lost protection from deportation. Elbert County's new leaders are laying down the law with some interesting new guidelines on who is allowed to serve on Elbert County's boards, committees, and commissions. The 3 new Republican commissioners voted this morning that the boards are to be generally reflective of the overall citizenry of the county. I asked the commissioner if that means they're only interested in people who look like and think like the majority in Elbert County.
How people choose to read this is very much going to be viewed through their lens, their perspective. What we're trying to achieve is what is written in plain language. There's nothing nefarious about this. This is an intent to be very clear about how we go about appointing people.
Republican Commissioner Chris Richardson told me they're aiming to get more people involved rather than having the same people serve over and over and over again. The commissioners dropped consideration of a ban on anybody who had ever been involved in a lawsuit with the county, instead only banning people from serving if they have current litigation against the county. Say you're fighting an eminent domain case or you've blown the whistle on wrongdoing in county government. You're out of consideration. Richardson was blunt. He told me that citizens have a right to sue. They do not have a right to serve and sue. He chalked the opposition to these rules up to a few negative people.
There are people in this county that will never be happy with anything that we do as commissioners. That's their role in this county. So I don't see any reason why there's an issue with us judging, who has exceeded any authority or usefulness as an appointee. We have a county to run.
Cleaning house in Elbert County. Watch out, folks. Commissioner Richardson could not say how many people who are currently serving in Elbert County are going to get purged based on these new guidelines. He did note, and this is in the rules, they will have a chance to appeal their removal.
Really tough. Nobody should have to see their house like this.
Remember last time we caught up with Robert Hagen? He was watching just stunned as hazmat teams gutted the house in Broomfield where his parents had lived for 4 decades. Robert's brother had been doing meth in the basement. It contaminated the whole house in the process and forced an expensive remediation. On Monday, 66 days after work began, Robert was able to step inside the house once again. He wanted us to see the price that families and homeowners pay for meth remediation. So gone is the drywall, the carpet, the flooring. A lot of the walls are just down to the studs. Robert estimates it's going to take 4 to 6 months at a cost of $140,000 now to turn that shell of a house into a home again. We have warned you this was coming. If you own a place in Denver and your sidewalk out front looks more like an off-road trail, you could soon get a notice ordering you to fix it. That has always been the rule. It's just that Denver is just now enforcing it. Our Steve Steger found some other cities take a different approach.
This riddle is pretty easy to solve. If a sidewalk breaks in Denver and a property owner doesn't do anything about it, will it ever get fixed? Not really.
The fact that a huge proportion of our city sidewalks are in bad condition tells us that the current system doesn't work very well.
That's Jill Locantori with Walk Denver, a group that advocates for pedestrians. She'll tell you to look at the numbers. 40% of Denver's sidewalks are either missing or not up to codes and city standards.
Denver grew up primarily in the age of the automobile. We all fell in love with driving in the 1950s and thought, we'll never have to walk again.
She says the state of our sidewalks is proof the current system, which relies on the homeowner, doesn't work. And she says you really can't blame the homeowner.
We don't ask property owners to fill the potholes in front of their house, right? Or to fix the sewer main when it breaks.
So what might work better? Denver will tell you it doesn't have the money to fix all these sidewalks on its own. Jill points to a few different cities and what they've done. Ithaca, New York, for example, charges people an annual maintenance fee based on their lot and how much foot traffic it gets. Much closer to home, Westminster charges a $6 fee on monthly utility bills and uses it to repair sidewalks. Englewood allows property owners to opt into paying a fee to repair sidewalks. 94% of the people who live there have opted in. For now, Denver's not making any changes in who's responsible, just reminding people that they are.
We treated sidewalks as a nice to have, and now a lot of residents are saying, no, this is a real need for a good quality of life in our city.
So the city set aside $4 million in next year's budget to help homeowners who are struggling financially with sidewalk repairs. 10% of the city's sidewalks just are flat out missing. The city will spend GO bond money on some of that, most notably in the Globeville, Elyria, and Swansea neighborhoods, Kyle.
They want to connect those neighborhoods, but their neighborhoods in the city don't have sidewalks, don't want sidewalks.
A lot of those. And so the city is going to spend a lot of that GO bond money filling in what they call the gaps. Those are the areas that don't have sidewalks. There's, after that project I talked about there at the bottom, there's $30 million left over. So they have to prioritize that, and they might end up putting it in areas that connect to transit, things like that.
Interesting. All right. Steve, thank you.
Yeah.
This has been a year of planned implosions that didn't fully go boom. Now Colorado provides America with a collapse to remember. An entrepreneur tells us his path from homelessness to business owner.
The next day is going to get better, and the next day is going to get better. And before you know it, you're getting ready to open a brewery.
And cheerleaders, feeling like they had nothing left to cheer for, learn otherwise. Next.
Oh my god. Holy crap. How did they do that? Oh my gosh. Look at the smoke.
A lot of science happened thanks to that former tower in Erie. Kind of majestic. Watch it fall. Down it came this morning after decades of serving the cause of knowledge. It was part of the Boulder Atmospheric Observatory over the years. The first big project took place there in the fall of 1978. NOAA says it hasn't been used since last summer. Firefighters were there to keep an eye on the explosives and the planned implosion that actually worked. Talking about you, Silverdome and Georgia Dome. That area northeast of Erie High School between Will County Roads 5 and 7 will soon become a subdivision because, well, of course it is. 3.88 GPA. Not bad, Sean Peters, new graduate from Metropolitan State University of Denver. 2018 is going to be a big year for that man. He's hoping to open a brewery. Here's another number to consider. 6, the number of months that Sean called a car home. He's the recipient of this year's Provost Award. And we hear his story from 9 News photojournalist Chris Hansen.
In my eyes, I don't think I had it that rough. I'm just a normal person, just trying to make my way. You know, I never did well in school. I really didn't care about school. I really didn't care about much. And then now, the world is much bigger. I would say what's really made me successful is just that I know what it's like to be at the bottom, and you don't want to do that again. What I love about my Jeep, well, one thing I love is that it starts up every day. So my parents moved to Florida, and then the house ended up getting foreclosed on, which made me go to my Jeep. I'd lived in my Jeep for a little bit. My brother-in-law actually told me once before I shipped out to boot camp, he said, pain is only temporary, and if you kind of keep that mindset, just moving forward, you'll figure it out. Things might suck for one day, but you know, the next day is going to get better, and the next day is going to get better. And before you know it, got on there not too long ago, you're getting ready to open a brewery. So a good friend of mine, he's our general manager for the brewery, named AJ. He introduced me to Zach and Chad here at Chain Reaction. He went to high school with them. And when we kind of had the idea of opening a brewery, he said, oh, I got these great guys they'll tell you everything you need to know. So while I was going to school, I was brewing like every day almost, just trying to get stuff ready and really practice. It doesn't really matter how lost you are or how crazy things are. If you want something, you can do it. Like, just gotta move one foot forward at a time, and eventually the picture's gonna come together. Just never give up.
Sean and his business partner are currently in lease negotiations. They think they'll open up Peak View Brewing in Castle Rock next summer. I will see you there.
High school cheerleaders learn a lasting lesson of the holidays. If you're feeling down this time of year, there's one thing that always does the trick. Not to make you feel bad, but this Christmas card is better than yours and mine put together. And everyone can be a winner in tonight's caption contest. Real quick now, your best caption. I'll read everything, #HeyNext, before we get back.
Erie High School cheerleaders were not having a great end to their year. They did not qualify for the state competition that they'd really had their hearts set on. Their hearts and their heads needed a new focus, and they found it today at an elementary school in Westminster.
That is Izzy, Kyra, Madison, Kaylee.
Erie High School cheer team has done really well this season.
Yeah, it's like just a big family.
I think so.
We're all each other's best friends and we spend pretty much all of our time together.
I would describe us as not just teammates but best friends.
Just like a huge support system for each other.
I think we have done really well. We've been in 4 competitions, and all but state we've gotten first place in those. Really simply what happened at state is in the very beginning we had a stunt that we didn't know was illegal, which got us taken out of finals. And I think all of our spirits were kind of down, and after that we just really knew that we wanted to do something not just for ourselves but for other people to just get us back in the spirit of things, the Christmas spirit.
Hi, you guys. We're just handing out Christmas treats for everyone.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Merry Christmas.
We decided to make some Christmas presents for the kids here.
There's over 600 kids here.
Okay.
It was like 540.
Here you go, you guys.
Candy bars and then the candy canes and the pencils.
And so yeah, it was a lot of stuff that we had to gather, but we all came together and we did it. We went over the top. So I'm really happy that we were able to accomplish that for these kids.
Hi, sweetheart.
Here you go. No peanuts in it, I promise. Really, it's not about what you receive, but what you give during the holiday season.
Here you go, buddy.
Because that's what Christmas is all about.
Bye. Have a good day. Merry Christmas.
The woman who won NEXT's first ever Christmas card contest is back with another stunner this year that puts the rest of ours to shame. Sarah Morley from Denver, you may recall she was embracing the single life. Tired of questions from family and friends about when she was going to find the one. The one for her was her dog, Ted. Last year, Sarah and Ted reenacted the scene from the movie Ghost, where Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze make pottery. This year, the theme is Love is an Uphill Pedal. And yes, it is still Sarah and Ted. Thank you for asking. She told us she was surprised by how many people who thought that she had photoshopped this card, but no, Ted was cool with it. Well, kind of cool. She said, my dog loves me. When I do things like force him to take Christmas card photos, he merely tolerates me, as seen by the look on his face on the back of the card. All right, time for the caption contest, folks. Picture Kara Mitchell took in her neighbor's yard in Littleton. A buck next to the Santa sleigh being pulled by dogs. There's a lot of confusion about what is happening right here. Poor guy was reporting for duties, and there you see, not much to be done. Debbie Dunn captions it, breaking in the new guys. Another day, another holiday fail. Thankfully, this one is not mine. You will relate, especially if you have kids home for the holidays. Next. It's a sign of a Christmas tradition in Byers. Next viewer Ryan Todd is the man behind the recurring sign of the season off Highway 36 in Byers. Every year he finds a sidewall, the tire, and a ditch in the area and decides to make it festive. If you have a sign that ever catches your eye, send it to us with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com. All right, forget the Facebook pretend perfect holidays that all your friends and family post. You and I know it's the thought that counts. And Heather Campbell Nordstrom sent us this photo of a touching holiday moment at her family's dinner table. Says, having all the kids home again for the holiday, nothing like quality family time. All of them sitting in the kitchens on their phones, she writes. Heather's in Highlands Ranch. The kids are in college. They're home from DUCU, one at the University of Hawaii, and clearly they have a lot of catching up to do and are completely uninterested in doing it. Don't laugh. That's your house, too. That's your house and my house. Send us your holiday fails. Tweet them with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com. We'll see you next time.